Top-3 performance at the moment, 12:48. Really impressive effort there from Sam Welsford of the Ineos squad. Alan Hatherley, first time we've seen him in the hot seat. All smiles, feeling good. How long is he going to be there? Could be a while. Alan Hatherley, fastest, 12 minutes and 38 seconds. 54.617 kilometers an hour. Again, just to remind you, 56.1 kilometers an hour is the average speed in this equivalent time trial. Similar weather conditions, similar course, of course, 12 months ago. Filippo Ganna will be coming along in a little while. Hatherley has control at the top of stage honors at the moment. 12 minutes and 38 seconds. That's what they're chasing. Tchat is pushing on towards the halfway point. 180 degrees there. Probably the most challenging aspect of the course.
On va voir que le chat sur oublié.
Coming a cropper in mountain pass, so they'll be mindful of the specific challenge. Other riders to consider, of course, in this time trial. Filippo Ganna's on the only one because second last rider into action today, 15:25 local time. I can tell you it's 13:55 right now, so a little way to go. About an hour and a half before we see Ethan Hager into action. Their final rider in this time trial will be Benoit Cosnefroy, UAE member and XLG rider, the 167th final rider. His teammate right now coming down to the not quite but almost midway points. 4 seconds to the
Bon, attends. Comme ça, tant pis, tant pis. Calmos. Ah bah tiens, il est là. Oh. C'est... Ça a planté? Oh, ça a planté. Et toi alors, qu'est-ce que tu veux faire? Bon bah voilà. Non? Hop. Alors, on a planté. Ah. Le retour?
What's he going to be able to achieve? His teammate, of course, already home and feeling pretty good about things. Currently, second fastest, Jan Christen. That's the sort of the reshuffle, isn't it? Del Toro fastest is the intermediate. Is he going to be able to take it on? As we've already seen, Sam Welsford and Jan Christen both wilting a little bit.
Alors, il y a Chris. Qui est celui-là? Isaac. Le bon vieux Isaac. Donc là, aujourd'hui, contrôle à montre. Tirreno adriatico, première étape. 11 km. Plutôt cool. Au soleil, on voit. Yann Tratnik. Du coup, sur cette course, t'as... Merde. Allez. Il y a du coup, je trouve que le niveau, il y a un beau plateau. Extend, du coup, bien. Ah, tais-toi. Tais-toi. Il y a un bon petit plateau. Contre la montre. Sur la montre. Provisoire.
Let's see what the Mexican star can achieve as he charges towards the line. Within 4 minutes now, conclusion of his time trial.
Classement provisoire. Je sais plus. Ils ont coupé. Les gars, vous faites chier.
2025 that he had with a string of success as well to Burgos, Milano Torino, stage win in Giro d'Italia, second place overall.
Christelle.
And this, for him, it was a hit. He never would have imagined that he could have been on the podium of Giro d'Italia 2025. But going all the way to the final couple of days.
Je sais pas, on va attendre.
Santiago Pedraza is a rider in good form as well. Trofeo Laguardia last week, the traditional opener to the Italian racing season, being claimed by the Colombian rider. So he's one to watch this week. He's on form. Pedraza, always a man to watch. He's a very funny rider too, and races aggressively, but looks less so, if you know what I mean. He's a bit of a sniper. He sneaks up on them and then he makes an attack, and suddenly it's Pedraza off the front. Yeah, clever and strong is the little combination. We'll see how he can perform during the week as Julius Van den Berg has picked up his Minuteman, charging towards the line, not going to beat the time of Alan Hathaway, team picking post down. The only squad in World Tour Racing yet to win a race this season, so they're going to be super motivated to try and right that wrong. We've got Pavel Bittner for the sprints this week. John Degenkolb will be interested in the tough, gnarly stages. Maybe try and get a break or two. Maybe tomorrow's stage and see how the 37-year-old veteran can feature this week. Meanwhile, Del Toro hoovering up his Minuteman. Chris van Gestel has put behind him with barely a second glance. Fourth overall in this event in 2024. 10th of this equivalent time trial in 2024. So this is going to be an interesting race. Ninth actually, ninth last year. So 10th and 9th, the last two editions of the opening stage time trial.
Pas passionnant forcément mais bon.
Rocking shoulders and hips and I mean
Mais Del Toro, ça roule fort, c'est bien en ligne. Pas mal. Kira.
Nonetheless, this is, I feel, going to be the new fastest time from Isaac Del Toro. 400 meters to go. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Del Toro.
Just might hang on here.
Oh.
Because Isaac Del Toro is finding, like others, that the return leg is
Del Toro, Panfoiré.
plenty of support from the spectators.
Donc c'est Iterly. On connaît Iterly. Non. Oh là là. Oh bah bravo. Bon, provisoire. Provisoire. Ah. Iterly. Iterly.
12-second turnaround.
Iterly.
Del Toro was 6
Del
seconds faster than
Toro. 3, Kristen. Renvoie du pâté. Putain, les gars, eux, ils font. Ils sont forts, ils sont forts.
Yeah, as I mentioned, 9th last year in this time trial. This is a really good shot at that being in the top 10 by the end of the day. Woof, that was close. Oh, he's still there. Happily with that now 6-second advantage at the top of the timesheets ahead of the UAE duo, Vizek Del Toro and Jan Christen, Westford, Bax, Tratnik, Van Draven, Van den Berg, Sean, Fiorelli, all trying hard.
Alors, Christen, c'est Christen, pas avec un S. Christen.
I just need to see how Santiago Buitrago is getting on as he approaches the midway point, and near midway point, the timing lead is
Buitrago, bravo, Polo.
He's lost 6 seconds.
Buitrago, toujours bon, de la Bahreïn. C'est plutôt fort. Santiago Buitrago. Alors ça, Ineos, c'est Bernal? Ah non, Brandon Rivera. Ineos Grenadier. Et après, ils sont bien, hein. Bon matos.
One of 7 national time trial champions in this event, 17th in this equivalent time trial last year. Filippo Ganna 45 seconds faster than him by the time they totalled up all the times, and he went in hot there, didn't he? And that was just about as fast as we've seen anyone go into that corner and stay upright.
Well, the thing about that corner, what I watched a few times after we saw Odin Kogut go down in that first turn, is that the likes of Isaac Del Toro came fast, but the line was so different. Started out very wide left and then cut into the apex and smooth the entire corner out. Then you can carry some speed. But it's all about your entry into that corner, and Brandon Rivera has also got the memo about that. And when unfortunately something like that happens to a guy like Kogut, everybody else gets a reminder.
It's information for everyone else, yeah. His folly or his misfortune was everyone else's opportunity, yeah.
Yeah, Abrahamson here, okay, he's not going to threaten the leaderboard in this TT, but I can guarantee you one thing, we'll be talking about him trying to hold
Fiorelli, Abrahamson, putain, il est fort pourtant celui-là.
I've seen him do that in the past, and Jonas Abrahamson is part of a crack Uno X mobility squad that includes Tobias Holland, his brother Anders Holland, Marcus Hulgaard, Apne Holter, Andreas Kron is on stunning form, as we saw from Strade Bianche on Saturday, under score set as well. Compact figure of Santiago Buitrago.
Buitrago, on va voir comment il finit. Est-ce qu'il va finir fort? Pas gagné. Pas gagné. Il doit être à 55 de moyenne, je pense.
Interesting move for him to Bahrain victorious this year. Great rider to claim. Fran Miholjevic as well. Zambanini. Ermakov, but it's a crack line, I think, for the Bahrain victorious squad. They've got 3 or 4 riders who can contend for stage honours and maybe even a little bit more in GC.
Yeah, I think with Antonio Tiberi in the team, they've got one of the big favourites, if not the biggest favourite. I mean, alongside Del Toro, I think maybe even at this stage, slightly above Primoz Roglic. I know some people might say you're crazy to say that, but Tiberi has started the season really strongly and he's in very good form. Said he would like some longer uphill finishes, but I think this course is going to prove hard enough to make the difference.
Yeah, we see Tiberi a little way down the line. We'll also see Brandon Rivera's teammate Filippo Ganna into action at 15:70 local. Just to let you know, it's 14:08 local at the moment, so just over an hour and 9 minutes before Filippo Ganna makes his appearance.
Ah, c'est Ganna qui va gagner, c'est sûr.
He'll be 9th from last off the start ramp as Santiago Buitrago shows on his face the scale of the effort here. And Alan Hathaway has survived another challenge. And you see the bumps that these riders are having to face on this, what you might expect with smooth tarmac, but really it is a bit of a ripple. And this is it's smooth tarmac, smooth asphalt, but just kind of bumpy. Does that make sense? There's some logic in there somewhere. Santiago Buitrago. Clock goes red nonetheless. Top 6 effort from the Colombian rider, and he is 20 seconds in arrears. Probably take that one.
Yeah, I think if you told him that if the leaderboard stayed like it is, if you said he'd lose 20 seconds to the winner, he'd sign immediately. I somehow think it's going to be more than that, despite the brilliant ride by Hathaway. Incidentally, Buitrago, whoops, not what you want to start as. Hathaway and Buitrago at the same time at the intermediate time check. Buitrago gave up 20 seconds to Hathaway in the run back to the finish line.
Ouch.
And that's 7 minutes of riding from that point back to the finish. 20 seconds deficit. It shows you a lot about not just the strength of Hathaway, but the way he paced himself in that effort.
Yeah, 3 seconds a minute is a forward, isn't it? This kind of scale of analysis and training and practice, and just how much detailed investment has gone into understanding how to do a time trial. For Vincenzo Albanese, I think it's going to be a rather more leisurely affair, although that's very much a relative term. And look as if he's certainly going to take a risk at that first bend. They're approaching the midway point. Again, the fastest rider at the midway point is Isaac Del Toro, who ultimately ended up second fastest at the finish line. 5:39 is the target. Brandon Rivera's going to be there or thereabouts. But not by much. So let's between 4 and 5 seconds for Rivera. 5:43 for him. Pretty conservative effort at the hairpin. Nobody wants to go across that big manhole cover. So if you take a really tight line, as you mentioned, there's various different reasons why you might not take the ideal or the obvious racing line. And road surface is probably chief among them. Let's get a look at this again. And he just misses apex by a mile. He didn't want to go over that. Didn't want to go over that manhole cover.
Yeah, ran a little wide. At the same time as Sam Welsford through that intermediate time check, it showed you how good a ride Welsford did.
National champion in the time trial, and we'll see what he can achieve. Sam Welsford is unhost at the moment, 4th fastest. He was 2nd fastest at the intermediate point. And he'll be going up against the likes of this man in the sprints this week. How many sprint opportunities are they going to have? Could be 2, might only be 1. Tough day in prospect tomorrow, and Ivan Garcia has given a good account himself, so too. As I mentioned, has Sam Welsford. See Jonathan Leland later on as well. It'll be interesting to see how good he is. 34 seconds down, 12 fastest. Fine effort there for the Movistar man. Sam Welsford, as I say, 4th fastest at the moment, 10 seconds down on Hathaway. How he felt about that?
Yeah, I must have got a little bit too excited in the first half, but I felt good, and I think I just used speed a little bit too much and paid for it in the back end. I think the last 3K I was on my absolute limit, so yeah, happy with the ride actually. Just good signs for the shape coming in for the week.
It's a little bit windy, that makes the difference between going and coming back.
Yeah, the wind was interesting. It was a bit like a crosshead coming back, so definitely paid for it then. And but I think, yeah, I mean, good signs for the first intermediate. Probably the bit of the sprinter in me going for the first intermediate rather than the finish, but no, really happy with it.
Tell us about your goals and the team goals for this week.
Yeah, we've got a really strong meeting hit this week with some big GC goals and also for me some sprint opportunities. So really looking forward to getting stuck in and helping the guys as much as I can on these climbing days and then on the sprint days having them help me. So yeah, really excited actually, really nice. My first tirreno, so I'm really happy to be here and enjoying the beautiful Italian weather.
It's all about the weather, isn't it? And certainly providing good weather in Australia, so I wonder what are the prospects for him in an Italian spring. Good shot, now looking pretty relaxed.
3, 2, 1, go!
Australian national time trial champion, 20th in this equivalent time trial 12 months ago, 47 seconds down on Filippo Ganna on that occasion. And at the moment, his teammates lying second and third behind Alan Hathaway. Isaac Del Toro and Jan Christen. 12:44 and 12:47 seconds respectively for them. That's likely to be something of a target, I think, for Felix Grossschartner. How much do I wonder, do they know about how their teammates are performing, or do they just focus on their own effort, focus on their own watts, focus on what they personally can do, and then leave the rest to the fates? Albanese through to the 5 kilometre points, and for all that it looks as if he's at the cafe, right, he's still 50 kilometres an hour up to that point.
Oh non, t'as planté. Oh. Oh, vous plantez comme ça. Calmos. Allez.
And even the sprinters that we say can't climb.
Ah, gros starter. Putain, mais il y a vraiment que des bons.
Stage with them, you'll see how well they can actually climb compared to the immortals. It's just the actual proper climbers go blindingly fast. It is to the point of, I would say, ridiculous. Because I've seen it firsthand.
Well, I mean, you look at the results, of course, of all pros, and you look at the results that they produce in order to get their pro contract in the first place. And there are lots and lots of riders who end up as rouleurs, as domestiques, as punchers, who were GC contenders in the lower ranks, in those 1.1s and 2.1s that they were doing in amongst the under 23s, and that they were absolute contenders for glory in Tour de l'Avenir. Incredibly tough bike races, incredibly high standard, and then they get a contract into a higher level, and then they realise where their true level is as a professional athlete.
Yep, you eventually realise what size fish you are in the biggest pond there is.
Well, Brandon Rivera is charging along. No fishing for him today. Down on the Z-side here in Lido de Campione. And he's not going to get to the time of Alan Hathaway. So another rider who enjoys the time trial, enjoys spending time on his time trial bike. One of these riders, especially from further afield, who are from different continents than where they tend to be based for much of the racing season. Always great to see that they'll go home to nationals, and particularly impressive that they will invest in road race and time trial. Brandon Rivera among them. Colombian rider. Emerging from the time trial, 23 seconds down, fastest for the moment, 53 kilometers an hour. It's probably not too bad, actually. As I mentioned, 12 months ago, lost 45 seconds to Filippo Ganna. Ganna yet to appear. We'll see him later on. And indeed, just under an hour from now, Filippo Ganna will be off the start ramp and into action. So Rivera into the top 10. Alan Hathaway still top dog in this time trial. 12:30 is the target time. Second, Jan Christen. Third, Fernando Gaviria.
Comment ça marche?
We'll have hopes and dreams later on in the week. It's Alan Hathaway still in
Non,
top
ça,
spot with
on le voit pas.
many of the top contenders still to appear.
Dans les feats, peut-être.
And Italian Spring looking good.
Dans les feats. Tellement de trucs.
This is a lead out of Camilore. Of course, the town of Camilore proper is a little bit closer to those hills in the background. We'll be starting from there
Oh non,
tomorrow.
non, non, non.
Their familiar launching pad for races in Tirreno Adriatico.
J'ai fait le con.
Chaine approaching the timing beam, the intermediate point, and it's going to be a good time. Very good time indeed, fastest of all to this point. But we'll see from his teammates.
Del Toro, Westford, ça commence à bouger un peu.
Pretty quick to that point. Sam Welsford saying it was a sprinter in him that wanted to go through that first 5K, couldn't help himself. And of course, some years ago, this was a 5K time trial, and that was definitely skewed a bit more towards the sprinters by doubling the length. It's still very much an aerobic effort. It's still way beyond the pure sprinter sort of realm, but nonetheless, it's taken it away from those riders a little bit and a little bit more towards the. Nonetheless, we've seen some stunning performances from the likes of Jonathan Milan in the last couple of years. So sprinters still can contend in this if they are at one with their time trial bike.
Yeah, if you've got a bit of time trialling talent, and certainly, as I mentioned earlier, Sam Welsford does for his track days, which are also not over yet. But the team's pursuit days, he is very familiar with that type of effort, and he's incredibly strong.
Stodberg, Rasmus Pedersen.
And someone like Jonathan Milan, I expect to do something similar. Is a little bit of an advantage for Pedersen, who's creeping up on the running into the slipstream before they take the deviation. It's not going to help him threaten Alan Hathaway, however.
And it's just force of circumstance. He was catching Alex Tollio's minute man there, and Rasmus Pedersen breaks the beat. Goes to 12th on the time sheet, just over half a minute down on Alan Hathaway's effort.
Robinson Pérez.
Solid effort for the Decathlon CLA CGM team. In good form, they got Tobias Lund for the sprints, particularly the tough sprinting days. Could be a good one for him tomorrow.
Voilà, les vélos qu'ils ont maintenant, Crochartner, 4 km.
Sort of emerging standout competitors from Saturday's Strade. Meanwhile, Grossschartner can maintain top spot after recording the fastest time at the 5 km point, as we've seen so many riders have suffered on the way up.
Bon, je crois qu'on va relancer, c'est pas grave. On bricole. On va relancer.
Fastest man, 11.5
kilometers, a single
millimeter longer. Indeed, for some riders, it turns out I measured it over a slightly shorter distance, and that's the challenge of time trialing, isn't it? Grossschartner is chasing the time of Alan Hathaway, 12 minutes and 38 seconds. 54.617 kilometers an hour average speed for this out and back pan flap drag strip course. It's familiar to fans of time trialing and stage racing and indeed road racing in general. Over many a long year at this point, they've been coming here since 2015 on a regular and consistent basis. It's almost always been a time trial. A couple of years of road racing, as I mentioned, 4 years of time trial, and the rest is, and in recent years, it's been all about an individual time trial opportunity for the TT specialists on their time trial bikes. And 3K to go for Grossschartner.
And under 3 minutes to get there.
It's going to be tough, but possible.
I mean, it's going to have to average just a tickle over 60 kilometres an hour for the final 3 kilometres, including that little chicane, head cross wind.
Aïe aïe aïe, que j'ai foutu. Toi qu'on veut.
Yeah, it's not ruled out just yet, but nonetheless.
Et là, c'est le 5.
Interesting to see what he can achieve. Guillermo Silva, national road race champion, going for glory.
Ah, voilà.
Uruguayan star representing the interests of the XTS Astana squad of
J'ai touché le bordel, j'ai tout fait planter.
among the riders in their lineup.
Merde, j'ai retouché.
Will be fired up to perform with ability.
Oh, il faudrait payer
Against
ça.
the Astana squad over the last couple of seasons, particularly last year, proving themselves very adept at coming up with consistent results at all levels, including World Tour. Time to final kilometre and a half for Grossschartner. He is going to be fully invested in this one. He's going to be living in the pain zone. Just how comfortable or bearably uncomfortable a place is that for him to be right now. You can only do what you can do.
Grossschartner. Je pense pas qu'il va battre leur corps. On va voir. Oh. Grossschartner. S. Grossschartner. 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 Ça va tenter. Ça va revenir. Ça y est. Oh. Chier. Ça plante, ça plante. C'est de retour. Grossschartner, troisième. Troisième provisoire. Peterly, Del Toro, Grossschartner, Kristen. Provisoire. Ah. Peterly. Oh.
Then, of course, the last man into action, of course, for the UAE team member. It's
Grossschartner.
field. He'll be 167th and last off the line, just under an hour.
Kristen.
A young rider of whom much is expected and much already delivered, Giulio Pellizzari.
Pellizzari.
Is a rider to conjure with. He's certainly performed great distinction so far. Third overall in Valenciana a few short weeks ago. He's got for teammates this week two-time winner Primoz Roglic and podium
Roglic quand même pour cette course. Ça va donner. Apparemment. Hulk. Paris-Nice qui va pas tarder à passer.